Hi, everyone. It's Dr. T, and I wanted to connect with you today to share with you the question of whether or not you can gain more self-control by just changing two words that you're using in your vocabulary. So the answer, drum roll, is yes, you can. And those two words I'm going to tell you in just a few minutes. But what I first want to share is that in our whole way of being a person, it's really, really beneficial to pay attention to ourselves and the exact kind of way that we're communicating about things, the way we're communicating in our relationship with ourselves and what we're telling ourselves, and the way that we're communicating in general to others. And we want to watch for what I call stressful speech, because stressful speech makes stressful people and makes people feel out of control of their own stress and their own emotions. And then guess what? You end up out of control in, it ends up being that way in your behaviors, right? You end up being out of control with behaviors that you want to do differently because you're having, really stressful speech. So in honor of my new book becoming a bestseller last week, I wanted to make sure I got some awesome tips from the book out to all of you to get you started on the track back to living your purpose and full potential. And that's what the name of the new book is. It's called The Method. And one of the parts of the method that I'm so excited to bring to you is really having people watch their stressful speech. Okay, so in beginning to watch your stressful speech, what you want to start to do is notice two of the most stress-inducing words that there are. And that is the words never and the word always. So the words never and always. So with never and always, I just want to give you a little nudge in the direction of beginning to pay attention to how often you're using those words and what you feel like when you're using them. Do you feel stressful? Do you feel something else? It's really for you to start to pay attention and start to notice. These two words can often feel very, very stressful for people because ultimately they're inaccurate and they're often an exaggeration. So we can be thinking things like, I never get a break. And that isn't true, but you're going to feel the stress of that and as if it is, right? You're going to feel the feeling of that as if it's true. So you want to start to notice, right? That word never. It could be, something always happens to me, or he always does this, or she always does that. Things like that really raise up and amp up the stress, clouds our cognitive capacity in what we're doing, gets us off track of going from our intentions going from our attention to intentions and fulfilling those intentions. And this kind of stressful speech can really have us feel out of control. And we may not even realize it, but we're just not on our complete A game. Okay. So these two things, right? Just watching these two words, this is part of the beginning of really beginning to utilize this method. And if you start to recognize those words, see how they're showing up in your vocabulary, and see what you can do about shifting your usage of those words to something that's just much more accurate, then what you'll find is that you'll start to have a different emotional pattern, and that shifting of what would otherwise be like a negative emotional experience will start to shift your general self-control and start to change what are otherwise self-sabotaging behaviors that you're trying to change those behaviors. But if you're using words like always and never right there, you're in that stressful emotional pattern and you may not even realize it. Okay, so to kick you off with this week, again, we're really celebrating something really exciting here at Dr. Tracy Inc., which is not only the release of the method book last week, but in one day having it hit the bestseller status, and how exciting that is, and how very interested people are in these emotional training techniques that allow people to just take control of their negative emotions and their self-sabotaging behaviors so that they can take control of their destiny, right? So they can be living their real purpose, all of their priorities, and be fulfilling their potential, right? So you can learn more about this at the link that I put there for the book, and also in even greater depth in my emotional training programs that help people build the emotional strength that they need to succeed by learning really hundreds of different techniques like the ones that I'm sharing today that make all the difference in your emotional dynamics and therefore your behavioral dynamics as well. So who doesn't want to have a nice, stable, consistent emotional state, really minusing out all the stress and having the ability to be really clear in what you're doing, put your attention to things, fulfill your intentions, and therefore fulfill your purpose and potential. All right, everyone. So have a great time implementing these tips for this week, and I'll see you soon. Take care.